What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today's video is a few different things, kind of putting a handful of things together today as I'm scrambling around. It's already afternoon, but I've been working on some laser engraving jobs this morning. Just finished up some leather key rings for my friend Riley Stair at RS Motorsport. About to send these out to the post office. Really excited on those key rings. Excited to do some stuff with some really good friends that are doing incredible things in the automotive industry. So this has been my day job. I don't promote it as much as I should on the YouTube channel. I don't really promote it as much as I should in general on social media or anything. But the laser engraving gig is my full-time gig. That's my day job. The car stuff is like a roller coaster. It picks up and it slows down. I'll finish a car, then I'll sell it. I'll buy the next project. Right now, there are a few different projects that are in the stable. But as most of you know, the Corvair and the 700 are not for sale. My dad and I built those cars together. For the amount of work and time that we have into these projects, it almost wouldn't be worth trying to sell it to make any sort of profit on it. And obviously, some of these projects, it's not about the hours you have into it. It's about the overall process. And then if you sell it, you sell it. But, you know, we chopped the roof on the Corvair. My father and I had never chopped a roof before. And when you're dealing with angles as aggressive as the pillars on the Corvair, and you're doing a traditional chop and you're not altering pillar angles, we had a ton of like R&D work to do, just lots of work. I mean, just trying to figure out how we were going to manipulate our angles and what we needed to do to stretch the roof and widen it and all that stuff. And then we did all the custom suspension as well to basically body drop the car. Same thing with the 700. If you guys haven't seen, if you're new to the channel, if you go back to, I think this past summer is when I finally did a pretty in-depth one video overall summary build of the 700. We're going to be working on the truck today. Today is Thursday, and I leave in exactly 1 week for Fort Myers, Florida for ROADTRIP. So there's a handful of other things I want to get done on the truck. So the old headlights are real foggy and just hazy. So I already had all new lights purchased for the truck. Gonna put those in today. I need to drop the spare out the bed of the truck. That hasn't been out in a long time, it looks like. Looks like that tire will barely hold air. It just looks super dry rotted and cracked. So I want to get a good look at that. One of the hanger brackets is wrapped in duct tape, so who knows what the previous owner did there. I've got brand new tires on the truck, so I'm not expecting a flat, but you can't expect anything out on the road. You don't know what you're going to encounter in your lane for debris or hardware or screws or anything like that. So I have a trailer spare for my own trailer that I'm taking because I'm using Mason's trailer, a good friend of mine, using his trailer for the trip. And I want to make sure I've got a spare for the truck too. So that's on the list today. And also getting some mystery oil put in the spark plug holes on the 6 Series because my buddy Nathan picks that up in a little over 2 weeks. And like I mentioned in the last episode, I should have had mystery oil in the cylinder heads in that motor when I first picked it up last summer. That way everything would have been soaking in there nice and long. It's going to be at least a month, it's looking like, before the 6 Series is out at Sutton Shop in Northern California. So hopefully a month worth of oil in the plug holes will allow it to seep down into the cylinder heads and hopefully free up anything that might be seized in there. Also, I should note and plug the laser engraving business. If you want any leather key rings or wooden or acrylic merchandise made for your brand or business, definitely DM me on Instagram. You can also email me. The email is in the description of the Ludwig's Garage Instagram page. But as I mentioned, it is my bread and butter. It is my main gig. So I am always taking on commission work. While we're on plugs, make sure to download the Wheel Price app, which is in the description of this video below, which is free. It's for the iOS and Android platform, so it doesn't matter what smartphone you have. It's a free wheel classifieds app where you can buy and sell your wheels. It's growing every day. More and more automotive enthusiasts are getting on board, so it's becoming a real good platform to find the set of wheels that you've been looking for. Back to the shop now and gonna get tinkering on the truck. I got the oil in the plug holes in the 6 Series, but I also degreased the engine. We're going to be doing a lot of work on this once it gets out to California to Sutton's shop, and I figured I'd take the opportunity now to degrease it, which has probably never been done, and get it cleaned up a little bit. And it is the original tire. It seriously is. So I haven't even had a chance to even clean this up yet, but it is pretty bad. There's some cracks in this sidewall. It might get me off the highway if I had more time. And I might actually still ask around a couple of the tire shops here in Chattanooga to see if they've got a 225/80 16. I think that's the size of this. 235/85 or anything close to that would at least get me off the road. I love these AT3s, by the way. My father owned an automotive garage for 40 years or so and was a tire distributor, and he was a Cooper distributor, and he had those AT3s on a lot of his trucks. They really look period. They're almost pizza cutter-ish looking tires. I love them. And also, before you guys head to the comments, I have been looking for some Oem rear hub caps. They're deeper than the fronts on the two-wheel drive trucks because the two-wheel drive ones don't have lockers or anything, so they're shallow. But what I've been trying to search for, without spending a ton of money, are the OEM Ford stamped ones. You can buy the longer, deep ones for the rear online for pretty cheap, but they don't have the Ford stamping. Much like the tow mirrors. A few episodes ago, you guys may have seen me talking about that, whereas the OBS OEM mirrors have the Ford stamp on them. But they're far more expensive if you find them from an enthusiast than the blanks that are repop ones, basically. But anyway, I'm in love with this truck. I really am. And the only thing I would do, I think, to this truck, if I had the time and the finances to put towards it, is I would put a ZF5 in it. I'd do a manual swap in this. Make it a true handshaker OBS. This E40D automatic transmission is the first OBS 7.3 with an auto I've ever had, and I don't really like it. And I'm about to find out for sure if I really like it, because I'm going to haul a car behind it 20 hours round trip to Fort Myers. So we'll see. All right, so I'm working on the headlights and the OBS. Spent some time down here last night, just kind of tidying some things up. There were some really big plasma cut, 1/2 inch thick, aftermarket tow hook / anchor points mounted to the front of the frame rails. I think the truck may have gotten stuck at one point, and it was pulled out. You can probably see how bent this one is. Like, that one is rinked right to the side. And it tweaked the bumper mount when it did that. So the bumper, some of you guys may have noticed it in any clips I've shot of the truck. The bumper was like 2.5 inches lower on the driver's side than it was on the passenger side, and it drove me nuts. I've just had so much stuff going on that all I had done was just crawl underneath to look to see if there was any serious damage. Well, I got those hooks unbolted and out, and then was able to actually loosen the bumper bolts up and straighten the bumper out. I'd love to find an OBS Lightning valance to put underneath the front bumper, paint match it to the truck. They have fog lights, and it makes the truck look a little bit more sporty. This is a two-wheel drive truck, so if anything, as I've mentioned before, I'll probably lower it if I do anything. And so it'd look pretty cool with the Lightning valance underneath. But new headlights are in. I'm keeping the original Ford marker lenses and blinker lenses, or the lights themselves, I should say. These aren't too bad. These aren't faded too badly. I did buy a full set of lights, but what I realized when I did all of these lights on my OBS dually I had was, since the replacement ones are China-made ones, they don't fit in the housing right. None of the tabs really line up, and there's gaps, and they just don't fit right. And so since these are still the original Ford stamped OEM lenses, and they're not that bad, I'm just going to leave them in here. Just leaving them in. All I'm doing are the headlights, since the old ones were bad. Very bad. In comparison, they are day and night. But I got the spare tire out from underneath and took it outside yesterday and hosed it down because it was just covered in Georgia and Alabama clay. But as you guys can see, it is not in a good way. It might It might work as a spare for a few miles if I had to. All right, I got the truck turned around and got the headlights at least pointed at the door so I could quickly align them. I won't know until tonight after dark when I take the truck for a run. Just make sure everything looks good from the driver's seat. And also make sure that the bulbs that came with these headlights are bright enough. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Just a filler episode, nothing exciting. So my apologies there. But I leave for Eurotripper in Fort Myers in just under 5 days. So if there's an episode between now and then, it may be on the 700. I've got some aesthetic things I want to clean up on the 700. Probably take that for one more test drive, make sure everything's pretty sorted out on that car before loading it up. So next video will probably be the BMW 700 and loading it up, then hitting the 10-hour drive to Fort Myers, Florida. Truck is pretty sorted. Just did one more fluid check. I'll do that again, obviously, before we hit the road. I'm real happy with the front end. Gonna test drive it tonight and see how the lights look as far as alignment goes and as far as the bulbs go. So that's basically what's going on in the shop leading up to Eurotripper. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.